Recent research reveals that most men over 50 are making a critical mistake every single morning, silently draining their testosterone before the day even begins. You are probably doing it right now without knowing it. Here is what nobody is telling you. The first 2 minutes after you wake up are the most hormonally significant window of your entire day. Get those 2 minutes right, and your body shifts into a testosterone-supporting state that lasts for hours. Get them wrong, and you spend the rest of the day fighting your own biology uphill. What I am about to share is simple, costs nothing, and takes exactly 2 minutes. By the end of this video, you will have a practical morning tool that most men will never discover. Comment below how you feel when you first wake up, energized, tired, foggy, or sluggish. I will be replying to each one. Here is what is actually happening inside your body every morning. Testosterone naturally peaks in the early hours, typically between 6 and 8 in the morning. This is your hormonal high point of the day. But your body also releases a surge of cortisol, the stress hormone, within 30 to 45 minutes of waking. Researchers call this the cortisol awakening response. In younger men, cortisol rises quickly, does its job of energizing the body, and then drops. In men over 50, cortisol can stay elevated far longer, actively suppressing the testosterone that should be peaking at this exact time. A 2022 review published in Endocrine Reviews found that sleep loss and elevated cortisol are closely linked to lower morning testosterone in aging men. Research shows around 7% of men in their 50s have clinically low testosterone, rising to nearly 20% by age 60. Millions more have low normal levels, low enough to feel tired, foggy, and weak, but not low enough for medication. The 2-minute habit you are about to learn works directly on this cortisol-testosterone balance. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert was 68 and felt like a different man from who he had been in his 50s. He woke up foggy and stiff, needing 2 cups of coffee just to feel human. He never woke rested despite a full night in bed. His doctor found his testosterone was in the low normal range, and Robert assumed this was simply aging. He had no idea the first thing he did every morning was making his hormones worse. The moment he woke up, he reached for his phone and scrolled through notifications in the dark, blocking the morning light signals his body needed to regulate its hormonal clock. When his doctor explained the biology of the morning window, Robert made one small 2-minute change. Within 3 weeks, his morning fog had lifted. Within 6 weeks, his wife said he seemed like himself again. Comment morning fog if you recognize what Robert was experiencing. Let me know your age as well. Before I reveal exactly what those 2 minutes should look like, you need to understand what most men do wrong in the first moments of their day. These habits are actively crushing testosterone before breakfast. The first and most common mistake is reaching for your phone immediately after waking. Here is what happens when you do this. Your nervous system, which was in a calm, restorative state during sleep, suddenly receives a flood of notifications and information. This triggers a low-grade stress response that sharply raises cortisol. And when cortisol spikes at the exact moment your testosterone should be peaking, the 2 hormones compete, and cortisol wins. Research consistently shows that testosterone and cortisol operate in a seesaw relationship. As one rises, the other falls. But here is the shocking part most people do not know. This pattern, repeated every morning, trains your stress system to be reactive at the exact time testosterone should be peaking. The second mistake is staying in total darkness for the first 30 minutes after waking. Here is what happens when your eyes receive no natural light signal in the morning. Your brain keeps producing melatonin, the sleep hormone, longer than it should. This delays the hormonal transition from sleep mode into the waking, testosterone-active state your body is designed to enter. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego found that levels of luteinizing hormone, the pituitary signal that tells the testes to produce testosterone, were significantly enhanced after morning bright light exposure. In a separate study presented at the European College of Neuropsychopharmacology, 38 men exposed to 30 minutes of morning bright light showed increased testosterone and sexual satisfaction scores, rising from a rating of 2 to 6 on a 10-point scale by the study's end. Men in the placebo group showed zero change. Most men spend their first 30 minutes in dim artificial light, unknowingly blocking one of their body's most powerful natural testosterone triggers. The third mistake is skipping movement entirely in the first hour. Here is what happens when you go from lying in bed directly to sitting motionless. Blood flow stays sluggish, your muscles stay inactive. Your hormonal system receives no signal that the body is engaged. Research confirms that even brief movement activates the large muscle groups that send the strongest hormonal signals. But here is the shocking part most people miss. You do not need a full workout. You need less than 2 minutes of the right movement to shift your hormonal environment for the morning. Comment, "I'm guilty," if you have been making any of these mistakes. Do not worry. You are about to learn exactly what to do instead. Let me tell you about James. James was 71 and retired with time in the morning but no structure. He woke, shuffled to the kitchen, turned on the television, and sat motionless for the first hour of every day. His joints ached, his motivation was low, and his testosterone blood work confirmed it levels at the bottom of the normal range. His son, a physical therapist, suggested just 2 minutes of change. No phone, a step outside into the morning light, and 30 seconds of bodyweight squats while his coffee brewed. James thought it sounded too simple to matter. Within a month, he reported waking up more alert. Within 2 months, his afternoon energy crash, which had plagued him for years, was measurably better. Small inputs in the right window create outsized hormonal effects. Now here is exactly what those 2 minutes should contain, counted down from helpful to most powerful. Number 4. Stop scrolling and sit up slowly. Do you know what happens when you sit up deliberately and take 3 slow breaths instead of reaching for your phone? Your nervous system transitions gently from the sleep state into the waking state at a controlled, cortisol-appropriate pace. Research on circadian biology shows that how your first waking moments unfold directly influences your cortisol awakening response for the entire morning. A calm, intentional wake-up supports the clean cortisol curve that allows testosterone to hold its morning peak. A reactive wake-up from a phone screen creates a cortisol surge that blunts it. This takes 15 seconds. Sit up, breathe, and stay off your screen. Done consistently, you will notice calmer mornings and better mental clarity within 2 to 3 weeks. Number 3. Open a window or step outside within 90 seconds of waking. Here is what happens when natural light reaches your eyes within the first 2 minutes. Your hypothalamus, the master hormonal regulator, receives a direct signal that the day has begun. This suppresses lingering melatonin and activates luteinizing hormone, the pituitary signal that tells your testes to produce testosterone. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego found that morning bright light significantly enhanced these testosterone-triggering hormone levels. In a separate European College of Neuropsychopharmacology study, men exposed to 30 minutes of morning bright light saw testosterone and sexual satisfaction rise, while the placebo group saw zero change. Even 60 to 90 seconds of early light, stepping outside briefly or standing at an open window, begins that hormonal cascade. The morning is your most powerful light window. Number 2. 2 minutes of diaphragmatic deep breathing. Do you know what happens when you breathe slowly from your diaphragm for 2 minutes first thing in the morning? Your vagus nerve activates and directly reduces the intensity of the cortisol awakening response, preventing the cortisol spike that suppresses morning testosterone. Research on breathing and the autonomic nervous system shows that slow, deep breathing shifts the body from sympathetic stress mode toward parasympathetic recovery. For men over 50, whose cortisol is already more reactive, this distinction matters. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale through the mouth for 6. Repeat 6 to 8 times. This takes under 2 minutes. Combining it with morning light creates a compounding hormonal effect that neither habit produces alone. Before I reveal the number 1 morning habit, Which of these three has surprised you most? Comment below. Your answer helps me plan what to cover next. Number 1. 30 seconds of explosive bodyweight movement. This is the habit that surprises men most. They expect the answer to involve cold plunges, protein shakes, or something complicated. But research consistently points to brief, explosive movement as the most direct way to trigger a hormonal response in the shortest window of time. Here is what happens when you perform 30 seconds of bodyweight squats, jumping jacks, or brisk marching in place within your first 2 minutes awake. Your quads, glutes, and hamstrings activate simultaneously, sending an immediate hormonal signal. Research from exercise endocrinology shows that large muscle activation is the primary driver of acute testosterone response in men. A study in the Journal of Clinical Medicine found that 8 weeks of high-intensity interval training significantly and positively shifted the testosterone to cortisol ratio in men. Brief morning movement creates a micro version of this same shift. No equipment needed. 30 seconds of squats before your coffee is enough. Here is what makes this powerful. Each habit addresses a different part of the morning hormonal equation. Calm waking preserves the cortisol curve. Morning light triggers luteinizing hormone. Deep breathing reduces cortisol reactivity. Explosive movement activates the large muscles that drive the strongest testosterone signal. Together they create a compounding effect no single habit achieves alone. Most men slam their morning hormonal window shut in the first 5 minutes. These 4 habits keep it open. Some important notes before you begin. If you have cardiovascular concerns, joint pain, or medical instructions to limit movement, speak with your doctor before adding any morning movement. The breathing exercise is generally safe, but stop and consult your physician if you feel dizzy. Men on blood pressure medication should discuss morning movement with their doctor first, as blood pressure is naturally elevated in the morning. Always consult your healthcare provider before changing your routine if you manage chronic conditions or take multiple medications. You now have the knowledge to protect your testosterone every morning. The morning window is real. The habits that open or close it are entirely in your control. 2 minutes. 4 habits. You do not have to accept morning fog and declining drive as the price of getting older. Your hormonal system is still responsive. It still wants to peak every morning. Stop getting in its way. Start tomorrow, before your phone, before your coffee. Comment 1 of 3 things right now. Comment light if you are starting with morning light exposure. Comment breathy if you are committing to the 2-minute breathing habit. Comment all forward if you are doing the complete routine starting tomorrow. Please subscribe. Every week I share evidence-based strategies specifically for men over 50 who want to feel strong and vital as they age. Next week I am covering the 5 foods that quietly destroy testosterone in men over 50, including one that most health-conscious men eat every single day. You will not want to miss it. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs this information. You might save their life.